So, lads, today we're going to be talking about something, and this is a really interesting clip that I've seen from Angel McCaughtry talking about Caitlin Clark, and obviously on a podcast. I think it is from a Just Women's Sports podcast. So we're going to talk about this clip, and I'm just going to give my opinion on it. And before any of that, I like Angel McCaughtry. I think she's one of the greatest, or one of the better players to ever play. Great, like calling her one of the GOATs is like a little bit overshooting it, but like this is how good Angel McCaughtry was. She was good enough to have kept a prime Candace Parker off an Olympic team. Like, if you're asking how good Angel McCaughtry was, there were times where she was probably a top five player in the world at any given time, and she was good enough to be better than anyone on any given day. And if you agree with my takes in this video, subscribe, or even disagree. We're going to be talking a lot of women's basketball, a lot of WNBA, a lot of Caitlin Clark, and we're trying to hit 57.7k by the end of the day. We're 34 subscribers off. Thank you guys so much for all the support recently on the channel. Like over 100 in the last 2 days is crazy. That being said, we got to look at this clip, and I'm going to give an opinion on this, and I think it'll be a little bit different than some people's. And I kind of get what she's saying, but like the fact that she's come out and said this kind of shows how far women's sports has gotten because of the way it was looked at back when she played, which isn't even that long ago. Like Angel McCaughtry was trying to get back in the league last year, to be honest, or in 2024.
Caitlin kind of crashes out on the ref at USA Basketball.
Yes.
You guys know I would crash out on refs a lot. One thing.
I stand by this. An awful call. An awful call. And not only that, like there was like a moving screen for a screen that didn't connect, and then she got called for a phantom. She had just been called, I think, for a phantom hook as well.
Gino told us at USA Basketball, he said, listen, you guys are going to go out here and win gold for your country. He's like, you're not going to have all the endorsements like the men. Mm-hmm. And we didn't. But he said, you go out there and you win gold for your country anyway. Mm-hmm. And we were like, yeah, let's go win gold. They have that now. They will be on the Wheaties box. Mm-hmm. Caitlin, it probably was a bad call. But right now, you're going to be on the Wheaties box. Who cares if they miss one? You wearing USA in your chest. It's a bigger stage. The whole world is watching. Kind of be like, okay. Give a little shrug. I'm like, I'm going to get this next one.
That is really interesting. I had not even considered it that way. My initial reaction was like, well, all is well in women's basketball. Caitlin's fired up. Caitlin's crashing out. That's part of it.
And yeah, so basically it's complaining about Caitlin complaining to a ref. And I've heard as well where it's like people are saying, oh, there's a much shorter leash in international basketball. There's actually not. If you react the way Caitlin Clark does, you actually have a much bigger leash in international basketball for those type of things. The problem is that a tech is a lot more consequential because one flagrant one and one technical foul and you're ejected. So it is a lot more consequential, one technical foul. So they matter more in international play. I'll stand by that. Like they absolutely matter more. But the refs aren't unbelievably trigger happy. They probably are more trigger happy with flagrants. When it comes to like unsportsmanlike fouls, they're a lot more trigger happy. If you commit a transition take foul, it's a flagrant. So they're a lot more trigger happy with stuff like that. What they're not trigger happy is, and like by the way, like this is coming from somebody who has refereed, not at a particularly high level, but has been at referee courses where like FIBA referee instructors have been at the courses, given their instructions, is you don't, basically they're advised as a referee, you don't give a technical foul to a player for a reaction to a call, for a once-off reaction. Like if Caitlin, continually, if she said anything about the ref, that wasn't just it was a bad call, or she does it 2, 3, 4 possessions in a row, or is doing it throughout the game, then yeah, that's when the T comes in. But for a reaction to a call, it's normally it's a natural human response to react. And very rarely is it, like they don't actually, a lot of times they don't want a quick trigger on T's, especially for stars, because they're like, from everything I've heard from FIBA refs, their goal is at the end of the game nobody talks about you. Like, if nobody is talking about the refs, you've done a good job. And that's kind of the whole thing. Caitlin was never going to get teed up for that in a once-off, because it's probably the only time she actually kind of went at a ref. And there are situations where if, say, a Caitlin Clark goes at a ref or another player goes at a ref, instead of warning Caitlin, the ref might go to the team and be like, look, that is your team's warning. Where next time this happens, we'll tee somebody up. But it doesn't, something like what Caitlin did in isolation is not a technical foul. But not only that, it's really weird. I stand by this, like Gino almost basically getting the players to, I hate saying this, but it's like, it's almost like the old style where it's like, oh, in women's sports, you have to represent yourself a certain way. Whereas, like, LeBron's allowed to crash out at a ref, no one cares. Anthony Edwards is allowed to crash out at a ref, no one cares. And they care if Luka does it because he does it a lot, in fairness to him. But, like, there are things in a game. There are times in a game where crashing out at a ref is going to make a difference. And complaining about one call is not going to change a game. It's very rare you're going to get teed up for it. And people are like, oh, it's a bad look. And I'm like, I'm of the opinion that showing emotion is not a bad look within reason. Within reason. Like, over the last 2.5 months, we've seen Paige. Was it in the playoffs where Paige, or the 1v1? I can't remember, but we've seen Paige crash out at a ref. We've seen, or Paige storm off. We've seen Caitlin do it. We've seen Angel, not necessarily crash out. We've seen Angel go at a ref after one of the calls. Like, it is sports. And if we're looking at it, when we're looking at it from an equal perspective, yes, in an ideal situation, every single person's a robot and shows nothing but positivity. And even if the refs don't make bad calls, even if refs do make bad calls, are all just like, yeah, you know, happy-go-lucky, let's smile at everything. In an ideal world, that's everybody. But it's not an ideal world. It's not an ideal world, and every single person has flaws. And it's like, with Caitlin, she absolutely complains to the refs too much. But, like, for me, the way Angel McCautry talked about it was like, you know, this is what Gino told us we had to be. And it's like, man, fucking Gino, the same Gino Auriemma who just had a fucking vendetta against Candace Parker and decided, you know what, I'm not bringing Candace Parker to the Olympics. She might be the finals MVP, I'm not bringing her. And then Neko Wumake, okay, yeah, she might be about to win MVP, but no, I'm going to bring Stewie because Stewie won me a natty, like, or 4 natties. She won 4. Even though in 2016, there was no debate. Neko Wumake was twice the player Stewie was. Stewie historically been better, but Neko was twice the player Stewie was. Like, it is this, like, oh, you know, you're here seeing with AZ Fudd being like, you see us as UConn, like, all these other teams with untucked jerseys and unmatched socks, we're like a different level. And it's like, it is the elitist. First of all, there is an elitist mentality from those UConn players. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. There is an elitist mentality between them. Second of all, if you're an Angel McCautry who is heated, and you want to complain to refs, do it. Who cares? Who cares? Like, if a male basketball player is complaining about a ref, as long as it's not excessive, which it wasn't excessive, Caitlin did it once in the competition, as long as it's not excessive or doesn't affect the game or doesn't get you teed up at a bad time, like, who cares? Play with emotion, play free. And I think that's what we're seeing now in these players, is that you got to let them play with emotion. Male basketball players are not expected to be perfect humans at all times, especially on the floor where it's really difficult to control emotions. Anyone who's played any sports knows there is always, it might be you, it might be your best friend, it might be a teammate. There's always the guy who is the nicest guy in the world. And especially, by the way, if you play tennis, if you ever see tennis, there are people that are the calmest, nicest people ever. And the second they get on the tennis court, they're fucking psychopaths. Like, it's hard to control emotions in sports. And rather than making this bigger point, being like, you're not allowed to show emotion, you need to be this picture perfect if you've got Team USA on your top. No, be yourself. Everybody. And the fact that Angel McCautry felt that she had to basically buy into that UConn elitist system and, couldn't essentially show her emotion on the floor is a bad thing. The fact that Gino put that system in, thank God, because nobody was competent in those eras, by the way. In the era of Gino coaching Team USA, no one was competent. Like, post Lauren Jackson injury, there was not another competent team until the recent France team and this recent Spain team. Like, this recent Spain, like even recent Australia team are not, I don't care about the world rank because they're nowhere close. Like, this recent Belgium team, this recent Spain team, and like Spain and France are younger than you, are up and coming. They might compete, but there were no teams that were winning 40 of USA for years. So, I just find it really weird, and all of this take comes back to this weird UConn mafia elitist mentality. South Carolina don't have that, by the way. Like, South Carolina have been better than UConn over the last decade. And there's no we're better than everybody else because we went to South Carolina. Like, their fans are psychotic, but there's no, it's weird. Like, it reminds me of, if anyone's, I don't know if it's like this in England, it's like this in Ireland. Like, it's if you're Ireland, you'll get this reference. It's like when you go, you're in primary school or elementary school, your friends that get sent to private schools versus your friends, and if you go to a public school, and suddenly they're just like, there's this weird mentality. And as somebody who was a high school teacher and has taught in public and private schools, they literally in some of the private schools in Ireland teach you are better than everybody else because you went to a private school. And that's the way it feels like. It's like, oh, we are this elitist mentality and you got to do that. Anything else is like a negative. And especially when it comes to men's and women's sports, the way there's a different reaction to people showing emotion on the women's side, it's just really weird. And I don't like that Angel McCoughtry said this. And I like Angel McCoughtry, by the way. Don't agree with everything she says, but I like Angel McCoughtry. And I don't think anything she's saying here is from a place of malice. It's this weird mentality that kind of surrounded women's basketball for years, where I'm like, no. Like, a lot of people are overgoing into it, where it's like rooted in, oh, women have to act a certain way, men act a certain way. And to an extent, yeah, it is. At the end of the day, players should just be allowed to be themselves within reason. Like, if Caitlin's doing this 4 times a game, or if Caitlin's after her "Are you serious?" and 2 possessions later still going at the refs, or is insulting refs, or like, there is things to the extent like when Caitlin had to be like dragged back last year and like went like that, and I'm like, I wonder what the ref said to her, because unless the ref said something really bad, Caitlin should have been teed up, maybe chucked. It was that Caitlin's reaction was so bad, she might have been chucked. Like, she might have deserved to have been chucked. But it's like, if the ref said something bad, they're not going to chuck her. At the end of the day, it's just a really weird scenario. And yeah, for players, show emotion. If it's Paige, whether it's Paige and Unrivaled, whether it's Caitlin, whether it's Angel, whether you have Indiana Fever, whether it's USA, show emotion, because sports is better when players show emotion. It just is.